One thing I wanted to hop into is DeFi. I haven't had a lot of guests in DeFi. I have done hours of research on it. I still feel like I don't know shit, to be frank. Uh, what could you provide? Just like I know that you were very into it, and you talked about specific experiences with Abracadabra. Is there like general frameworks other than just like it's like money Legos that you use to help teach people and also to help yourself learn by breaking it down to certain components and learning, where the tech is developing and where it's struggling and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Great way. And I've done a lot of education on this in Atlanta. And so hopefully I've arrived at some pretty good ways to explain it too. But the way I like to explain DeFi is, it's just fi, right? Finance. But we've applied, this open access, permissionless, transparent framework to it. So the idea, and here's how I sort of like to begin here. You can think of let's look at Web 2, right? So in Web 2, you had these massive success stories like Uber and Airbnb, right? So what did they do? Well, Uber became the largest taxi company in the world, and they didn't have to own any cars, right? Because they just coordinated sort of a network via using information. Here's where your passengers are. Here's where you need to take them. Here's the best route, and we'll just connect you, right? Right. They applied that to the problem. Airbnb did the same thing. They just made it so anyone can provide their actual assets, right, and can be, can act like a hotel. And so Airbnb became the largest hotel company without them owning any real estate. DeFi has applied sort of the same model to finance. So in Uniswap, right, anyone can be a liquidity provider, right? And Uniswap is becoming, they aren't yet, right? But they have become one of the largest exchanges without owning any assets, right? They don't own any assets. They say, bring your own assets and you can participate in this, right, in this area. So just like you would bring your own car to go drive for Uber, you can bring now your own money to LP on Uniswap. Now, what does it mean to LP? So and this requires, right, some knowledge of financial plumbing, right, because that's what this all is. You in the financial sector, right, there's kind of three key functions, right? There's payments. You have to be able to pay someone else, right? That's simple. There's exchange, right? If I have something, you want something, we have to be able to trade, and we have to decide what my asset is worth versus your asset, so we can trade these things and avoid, barter systems. And then there's lending and loans, right? So if I have a lot of money and you don't have a lot of money, and you have a great idea, you want money, right? And I'm not using my money right now, I can loan you my money, right? Earn a little bit of an interest rate, and you can go do what you need to do, right? Buy a house, start a business, right? Very, very important function, right? And that's existed for thousands of years. All these things existed for a very long time. Right, and their proliferation has led to massive improvements in society, right? As we efficiently can allocate capital and allow people to build their good ideas, right? So we're just taking those same functions, right, and we're making them more accessible and more permissionless, right? So now anyone can be a lender, right? Anyone can facilitate exchange, right? Anyone can be a market maker. So in this exchange function, right, to circle back to what I was talking about earlier, right, in order to allow for these exchange of assets, what you have to do, you have to kind of have inventory, right? You have to have a certain, if I'm trying to buy bananas and, I have oranges, well, we have to have a stock of bananas and a stock of oranges so that if someone wants to trade some, someone is providing that to allow for the exchange. That's called market making. This is an activity that is relegated to a certain few financial institutions, right, that would do this, and they would make a whole lot of money off of it, right, because they would make money on the spread, right, or they would charge fees for the service. So classic kind of intermediary, right? Uniswap and the decentralized exchange model, right, around asset pools, right, means that anyone could create this pools of assets. Well, I have both oranges and bananas, and I'm not using them, so I want to provide them to the marketplace, right? Put them in the store, literally. and allow people to buy or sell them, right? And so I'm just like I would bring my car to go drive for Uber, right? I'm bringing my oranges and bananas and my other assets and putting them onto this marketplace, Uniswap, and allowing people to buy and sell. And now I earn the fees from that, right? And so, what is this? I can kind of distill this into, you can be the house, right? So that's what how these people make money is they're the how they don't really care how many bananas you buy versus how many oranges. They want there to be perhaps some balance. They don't want to run out, but they don't care. Some people are going to buy bananas, some people are going to buy oranges. It's fine. What we care about is that people are doing it because every time someone buys it, I charge a little bit of fee as a market maker. And so all we've done is we've democratized that, just like Uber did, right? And so we're applying these models to the financial sector. And why, and it should kind of click for you if you're listening earlier, right, to the idea of the internet of value, why the financial sector, right? Because if as the internet of value, we are coming after the intermediaries of value, right? Well, all the financial sector does is intermediate value. That's why they exist. So it's a very kind of clear place to start. And I think that's why DeFi has been the first big use case to come out of Web3, to really find product market fit, right, as well. Because, it's a perfect use case, right, for public permissionless Web3, right? Let's take these, value intermediaries and rebuild a system where we don't need them. And therefore we can capture more value to the users, right? So the power of DeFi is that anyone can be the house. If you want to be a lender, you can go be a lender and you can earn that interest rate on Aave. If you want to be a borrower, you can, go be a borrower, and there's some advantages to going to a bank, right? You can borrow permissionlessly. You can do it at a few clicks of a button. It's really convenient. You can monitor it. You can close it out. There are lower fees. That's all great, right? And I did that via Abracadabra, and I've done it on other platforms as well. If you want to pay someone, obviously you can pay someone. If you want to do your payroll, you can set up your payroll on a Web3 app, right, and have it drip out every second, right, and allow people to claim it whenever they want. So all of these, key functions, right, we are recreating. We're not really reinventing the wheel, right? It's still exchange, it's still lending, borrowing. Nothing fundamentally has changed about those things, but we've made them easier, more accessible, and we've lowered the rent in between, right, by removing some of these intermediaries and basically making them into protocols, right? So that's how I would, explain DeFi simply is, you have the opportunity now to participate in these core financial applications, right? As anyone, all you need is capital, and all you need is, a MetaMask.